This is going to be a good one, guest. We have the previous winner here from SnapCon 2023 up against one of the favorites, I would say. I think a lot of people picked Woody to win this whole thing. We've seen how strong he has been this entire competition. How are you feeling about this matchup here?
I am excited, to be completely honest. I'm excited to see how they handle each other. They're both incredibly competitive players, but Rocco has been here specifically in this setup before, and I'm not sure if that's necessarily an advantage because of everything we were talking about earlier with YoWoody. So it looks like both players are fully set up with their headsets. So let's take a quick look at the decks that these players have opted to bring in. RoccoSocko having that Ultron of Ultrons, the Sandman deck of Doom, as one of his options to bring in, followed by a Wiccan Loki build. Quick thoughts, good sir.
So I have not actually even played Wiccan yet, guest. This has been a very busy week, of course, preparing for SnapCon and all that. I haven't spent my tokens nor keys yet on Wiccan, so I'm excited to see this deck in action. And I actually interviewed RoccoSocko earlier in the day today over on the Power On side, and he told me that he actually built this deck. He saw KM Best's list on Twitter. He pulled for Wiccan, and this is his first experience playing this Wiccan deck in this tournament. So still raw for him. He thought it was powerful, and clearly it's been working if he's been able to get to this point in the top 4 of this SnapCon tournament.
Meanwhile, on the other side of it, we have YoWoody, who's bringing, of course, another Surfer build to the table, followed by Ajax Hazmat. So let's make this really clear in observation. Not one Arishem deck has been brought into the Final Four. As a Surfer fan, I'm happy to see so much Surfer, but Ajax, I think, has been this very slow sleeper in Marvel Snap.
Yes, we've certainly seen some of the nerfs to Ajax. Of course, the OTA coming out right before this tournament played a big role in that, having that extra 3 cards added to the Arishem deck. Certainly a nerf. Of course, you had the nerf to some of the other cards that benefited Arishem as well, Blob, Loki, etc. So I think Arishem's time in the sun is slowly coming to an end. And of course, the popularity of Cassandra Nova has been a key factor in that as well. Not surprising that some of these decks here in the finals have Cassandra Nova, so that's probably why you're not seeing Arishem. As we get a look at our 2 competitors here, Rocco on the left, Woody on the right, going by Dera's GF's BF. Always the prankster there. And here we go. Another Black Vortex game, guest.
Oh, I love seeing the chaos of Black Vortex and District X! You thought you knew what was happening, but no. District X comes on down and throws a wrench here in turn 1 of the semifinals.
And there we go. We see a Domino converting into an Goliath there from Woody. Jeff coming down for RoccoSocko. And a snap. So Woody feeling confident here. Doesn't need to play Arishem. It doesn't matter. He's got the District X going, all those random cards. He's feeling confident with his Goliath there. 10 power on the board. Cassandra Nova considering here for Rocco.
That Spider-Man could also be a very interesting card in the Black Vortex as both players go down the path of Cassandra Nova, pulling 8 and 8 due to the resets that happened due to District X. Now the question is, do you capitalize on that? Because I look at Spider-Man and Black Vortex, and I think of the combination of having a 6-cost card appear somewhere else. Do you go down that path, or do you say, you know what, Iron Lad, just you do your thing, and I'm going to lead into every type of RNG?
It's going to be interesting to see what card goes in Black Vortex here. We see the Absorbing Man come down, getting another proc from Cassandra Nova, so that's -2 now to the remaining cards in Rocco's deck, and an Iron Lad pulling Mirage, so a little intel here for Rocco, knowing that Armor is indeed in Woody's hand, getting that +2 power from Mirage as well.
Nice +2 power on the Mirage
And look
side.
at that, he draws a Mirage from his deck, of course, because that's how Iron Lad works. Duh, Perry.
Yes, all right, it happens. You know, we've all had our first days. So into the Black Vortex goes the Ravonna Renslayer.
It's been a long weekend, guest.
I know, I've been there too. So we watch around all of the conversation. Man, they're all shuffling around. Even with that -1 attached to the Iron Man, you can see at the top of the screen from YoWoody, that can easily be counteracted. You've got an 11 power Absorbing Man, a 10 power Goliath. There's a lot of good power on the board to mess with to help undo some of that damage. I guess the mystery play is going to come down to, I think, probably the Ms. Marvel.
The The Miss Marvel could certainly go a long way. I'm sure Rocco is not expecting that either. It's going to also come down to what he gets on his side of the Black Vortex, going for the Ravona. Just dropping a 2-drop in there. She's pretty weak now after the Cassandra Nova hits her. Not going to really benefit too many cards. The Dracula, of course, could go in there. But we see the Iron Man coming down on the Clintar lane here for Woody, bumping that up to 14 power, and let's see what we get here. It is a Rolk, Red Hulk coming down. So a nice trade there on the Black Vortex for both players. Of course, now Woody in the position where he does need to spend all of his energy to prevent that Red Hulk from going even bigger.
And remember, this is just round number 1, and both players are within 6 points, essentially, of each other on the board. And they're already up to potentially a 4-cube round 1, which is a very, very big contrast compared to the first semifinal match where it was single cube by single cube for nearly the first 4 rounds.
Yep, the pressure is on here. These players feeling each other out, not sure. Of course, how can you know with the District X? There could be anything in each other's hands.
Yep.
Certainly, Woody looking a bit stronger here based on the cards in hand. But again, you do have to account for that Red Hulk potentially getting bigger if you can't spend all that energy. That is something to keep in mind. If I was Rocco, I'd probably consider leaving here because I don't feel too confident in my hand here.
Did you notice what disappeared out of Woody's hand?
The Miss Marvel.
Exactly. That Ms. Marvel's gone, so I'm assuming we'll see another card over into the Black Vortex and a Ms. Marvel in the mid. That's going to bring the Clintar up another 10 points.
Huge with the Iron Man there.
Yeah, exactly. With the Iron Man down, that's a huge, huge win. And Rocco sees what we basically see with knowing everything. He sees the future of escaping, leave with the 2-cube dignity versus the 4-cube loss. Good move from both players there. Very tough to play on a District X Gaming competitive Marvel Snap when there's so much on the line.
Absolutely. Smart retreat there from Rocco. 2, certainly better than 4. As our locations start revealing, we have Killen on the left and Castle Zemo in the middle. So it's going to be a tricky situation here, seeing what they have to send over to the other side if they indeed play there. We have ways of getting into that middle location for Rocco with Ultron and Doctor Doom, and of course Woody has some good options as well with Nocturne.
He basically has the line, if you take a look at it. He's got the Dazzler, the Brood, the Patriot, the Sandman, and 2 different options to work with as he takes the Brood, shoots it over through the Castle Zemo, keeps the valuable Broodlings on his side, and Hope Summers appears into Kunlun. And now with the Kiln on its warning flash, Woody's got to decide if that location matters.
Yeah, interesting decision there from Rocco to give Woody a 3-drop when he is playing Surfer. That will go up for more than just 2, certainly, if he gets the Surfer down. Of course, he's got the Nova Killmonger combo in hand as well. We see the Gwenpool coming down for Woody, buffing that Killmonger and Red Guardian. So that is going to come in handy, and he does have the Surfer here. So Woody knows that Sandman's in this deck. We're going to have to see what he does here to prepare for that a potential Sandman play from Rocco.
I'm curious to see if he's already attempting to play around, proactively try to play around a Sandman, knowing that Rocco has this deck in his arsenal and that the Sandman deck is all over the top of the meta, so neither player is unaccustomed to seeing this matchup. It's just a matter of how willing are you looking to lean into saying, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to prepare a single card option as a Surfer deck and a second one as well, as we see the Sandman come on down, followed by Nova, followed by Forge, and go ahead, shoot that Forge to the other side, reinforce over that Nocturne into Kunlun, and 1 card per player is left.
So now Woody has the option here of the Killmonger or the Surfer. The Surfer will certainly be more value here than the Killmonger, but it is not the strongest play up against Ultron. We got to do some math real quick. No Patriot down for Rocco, so the Ultron bots and the Doom bots will not be any stronger than they currently are. He has the option to move the Jeff, Woody with the option to move the Nocturne as well. So where is this power going to wind up, and which card will be coming down? I think it's got to be the Ultron here if you're Rocco, right? Doom only gets you an extra 5 with that middle location being full?
No, and the reason I personally don't say so is because if Nocturne moves on over, it all comes down to Surfer dropping potentially into the right, which is going to reinforce the Hope Summers up a bit. Jeff's going to go up 2. You're going to put the Doombots over on the left to fill up the ramp up the Dazzler as well. It's going to be impossible to win the left and the mid in that scenario.
You know what? I'm looking at it. Does Killmonger provide more value here, or does Surfer provide more value here?
Well, Killmonger will only give you +4 or I guess 5 if you count the Killmonger getting buffed as well, whereas the Surfer would give you at least 6. And here we go. The final card comes down for both players. Nocturne turning mid into Lemuria, and we see the Patriot come down instead for Rocco, and Killmonger indeed for Woody, getting that +4,
1, 2,
5,
3.
and there it is.
Boom.
Flipping mid. Woody taking 4 cubes over Rocco on that one. Smart play, math, calculations, all done.
Neither player going with the hero win card choice and deciding to play underneath into their second, third, and potentially fourth win conditions, as the Killmonger piece is what undoes 4 cubes out of Rocco, and Rocco not opting to go with either the Dr. Doom or the Ultron, just go for the reinforcement of the middle, but it just wasn't enough.
And you know what Rocco wasn't considering there, which I also wasn't considering, was that Gwenpool buff. That
Yes.
2 extra procs on Killmonger to take it up to 7 power instead of 3. He was clearly doing the math for the 3 power. How could he have known what Gwenpool hit in his hand?
100%. I had not considered it either, as Washington, D.C., Brood's best friend, drops into the right location with a Sanctum Sanctorum also to boot. Playing that Brood on the left, basically forecasting I do have Absorbing Man, and it also flips into Washington, D.C.
Great flip there for Brood. Both players, of course, with Brood. Will we see the Absman from Woody over on that right side? It's too good to ignore, right, Guest? You have to go for that Absorbing Man.
You can't
on
ignore
Washington, D.C., as we see an Iron Lad coming down here
Especially
from Rocco.
knowing-
Locked in. There's the Absman. Huge power on that right lane, thanks to Washington, D.C., as well as the Absman buff. Iron Lad hits. Super Scroll. Not going to be super useful in this matchup, considering Woody has no ongoing cards in his deck, but at least the intel is there.
Now, you're also only working with 2 spots left. Does Sanctum Sanctorum have enough of an issue for Woody to be a threat?
Well, Woody has no Nocturne on the board yet, so no way of getting into that middle location yet. He, of course, knows Ultron, Dr. Doom can take that for him, so I imagine Woody's just going to be trying to win left and right here, practically giving mid up. And it's going to come down to where does Rocco want to put his big power. Considering how strong that right lane is for Woody at the moment, I would imagine he's going to try and win left and mid here.
Yeah, 12 versus 18, I'd probably take a very similar line, but I'm looking at that Forge. Woody keeps messing with the Forge in particular, basically deciding where do I need to secure. Can I do it via reinforcing Nocturne and trying to steal the mid? Because again, same thing, even with a Sandman play, Patriot is not down. Here comes the Nocturne first and the Forge second, as now the Sandman leaves 1 card to play, which is essentially the wheelhouse that Woody is already playing in.
Yep, only 1 spot left to play for Woody, so the Sandman not super useful there for Rocco, but now he has to keep in mind the middle location. Nocturne is going to compete, so he's got to play something to compete in that middle lane. It seems like it's going to be Ultron, but I've been wrong before.
Looking at that Ultron, that's going to drop 8 power into the Sanctum Sanctorum, and then also remember, each of those drones are going to get +3 power in Washington, D.C. That's 20 power in total then.
It is. No Blarvel, no Patriot, though, so it would be a tie. Woody has to be thinking about Surfer here to boost that up, and we do see a retreat here from Woody.
Nice.
Smart play from Rocco, limiting the options there, and we see Rocco on the board, taking 1 cube off Woody.
Slowly chipping away. We're down to the 1 cube tactic. We're into round number 4, the lowest of low stakes, the last opportunity to retreat for 1 as we open up with Hala and the brand new Destroyed Mansion. Have you had a chance to try this location out when it was featured?
I have seen some Destroyed Mansion pop up. This is great for Rocco, of course, being able to buff that rock with the Patriot, and the Vibranium could also come in handy here with a Destroy location. And speaking of Vibranium, there's the mines popping up on that 3rd location. Again, Cassandra Nova fodder for both players, so that is going to severely limit the amount of play space they have here, with the rock already on the board, Hala being a dangerous location, and Vibranium Mines being Cassandra Nova fuel, as we do see Cassandra Nova coming down early here on the left location, and Hope Summers, so they are both fighting for Hala now. Who is going to come out on top?
With that Absman already having +4, now there's 5 cards left in the deck. That's going to be 9 added into Hala. And Hope Summers, even if you do lose that location, you could take advantage of it because you do have that Vibranium also on there. So even though you might lose the Hope Summers, you could potentially still survive with the Vibranium.
Could be. We see the Absorbing Man coming down here for Rocco, going up to 15 and Gwenpool. So both of these cards for Woody, 12 power wiped off the board with the Absorbing Man play for Rocco. That seems pretty strong. Is that a snap condition for Rocco? It is.
In his mind, it looks like it is.
I mean, 12 power being wiped off the board, Guest. I know Woody's a great player, but it's going to be hard to come back from that. Even with that extra energy, Woody's got to be expecting Sandman here, so he needs to make this 6 energy count right now.
That rock should have value, but they can't reinforce it via the Killmonger in any way because it'll disappear at the same time.
Also going to cost Dazzler some buffs as well, and there is the retreat from Woody.
There we go.
He took the gamble on the hollow there, didn't pay off, and another cube down. Good play from Rocco there, evening it up a little bit more, 2 cubes to 6. I'm sorry, 8 cubes to 6.
All right, let's start us off with Mojo World. Again, another location that really heavily benefits, well, both of these archetypes. Both of these archetypes running Brood. You see, of course, the Ultron and Doctor Doom to spread wide. A couple of different options there, but it really is exclusively down to Brood for Woody to make Mojo World be an easier, if you will, location. But what would you fight for more? White Hot Room or Mojo World? And District X comes back.
Another District X in the same set, but it doesn't exist, Guest. But we do see a snap here from RoccoSocko with the Brood and the Jeff on the same lane. Very smart play here, able to get that White Hot Room and still move the Jeff out of there to play whatever other card he wants. This is a great position for Rocco right now, and he does have pretty much his entire win con in hand. He's got the Patriot, the Sandman, and the Ultron, so District X be damned. He's in a good spot here. Woody feeling the pressure, forced to retreat for another 2 cubes. We're all evened up, 6 cubes apiece. Let's hear it for our competitors. An intense game of Marvel Snap in the top 4 here at SnapCon 2024.
Off to high stakes round number 6. Oh, man, everybody take a deep breath. There's a lot more high stakes competition coming down the pipeline. We're at 6 to 6, like you said, good sir, with a Murder World after Orcus Forge. Are the Sentinels going to give any value to anybody here?
Don't think so. I mean, having that extra 2-drop that you can squeeze in to smooth out your curve will be nice, but you have to keep your hand size in mind as well. We see the Forge coming down for Woody, the Dazzler for Rocco, both getting a Sentinel in hand as Grand Central reveals itself as the final location. So this could be dangerous here for Rocco. We see the Ultron in hand. If Grand Central decides to pull this down early, it could be a rough spot. We see Dara's GF's BF dropping the Sebastian Shaw there with the buff from Forge. So 8 power on the board already. The first Shaw play from Woody so far this match.
Yeah, he's gone 6 rounds and never gotten Shaw down onto the board. And now we're in a position where with Grand Central, I think Rocco's got to be looking at the idea that there is that threat that Ultron could be drawn at any point. So how much are you willing to commit into Grand Central if Ultron was to be pulled? So that's probably the balancing game he's looking at right now. Does the Patriot provide more value to play that down right now, or are you just looking to put your power out to go from there?
Interesting decision here from Rocco. He locks in an Absorbing Man, copying nothing.
Yeah.
So that is just some stats.
Yeah.
Interesting play here from Rocco as Woody drops the Gwenpool, buffing the Nova, unfortunately, as well as Killmonger and Sentinel. Not your ideal hits, but that extra added surprise power, as we saw in the previous match, will be a factor here. Coming down to Grand Central, what's it going to be? If I was Rocco, I'd probably want to get that Patriot down just in case the Ultron gets pulled. You'll at least have those bots being buffed a bit more. We see the snap here as well, this time from Woody, feeling a bit stronger position. He knows that that Ultron could get pulled from Grand Central, and he is prepared for it with the Killmonger. So strong position here from Woody.
Potentially contemplating. I'm surprised that Jeff hasn't made any moves to leave an extra free space in case if that threat does come onto the board. And I think that's what Rocco's deliberating right now is, do I have to leave an extra piece here? Because that Iron Lad, I think he's trying to hit either the Sandman or the Blue Marvel, as Red Guardian's going to undo the benefit of Dazzler and Orcus Forge. Here's a 5-power Sentinel over into the Grand Central. We're going to get Iron Lad, who takes on the form of Doctor Doom to put a couple of Doom bots on the board.
And there it is!
It happened. The
He took the
Ultron
risk.
drones everywhere. And a Killmonger!
Actually,
Whoa!
kind of good there for Rocco. Getting
Killmonger saves RoccoSocko.
incredible. Wow. The RNG in full force here at SnapCon 2024. I'm shocked Rocco went through with that, knowing that that was a possibility, not moving the Jeff either.
Wow.
That is some cojones, guest. What a pull there from both players. So now Rocco with some board space to work with. He's got the Patriot, he's got the Brood, he's got options. Woody, one of his win cons out the door. His Nova 1-3. It's some decent stats, but all we see here are Sentinels, Absorbing Man. A very tough spot for Woody here. And if they decide to go through with this, guest, this could be the tournament.
The saving grace in that entire play was actually Iron Lad. Iron Lad pulling out that Doombot to keep priority in his favor going into Grand Central allowed Ultron to reveal first.
Yep.
Killmonger to reveal second. If it wasn't for that Doombot, I don't think it would have been enough power in the tiebreaker to have the priority switch that same direction. And now we got YoWoody trying to figure out, how can I fully, truly take advantage of this Surfer, and is it going to be enough? Rocco's got to make his own decisions, and it looks like he already has. He's already put it onto the board that he is waiting. It is not worth all 6 cubes, but it is worth 4.
Wow.
YoWoody now in the lead, 6 cubes to 2 here in the semifinals.
That was a crazy turn of events. Rocco did have a chance there with the cards he had in hand, but didn't feel comfortable. Woody now up 6 cubes to 2. Rocco clinging to his last cubes here as Lechugia is our first location. Again, Cassandra Nova fodder here if they are playing on that location.
Valley of the Hand could be also a very cheeky location when you've got Nova Killmonger in hand. We could see double prockings of Nova Killmonger depending on the ordering. This would, ooh. Necrosha, I don't think really has too much of a negative effect, but keep an eye on the Lechugia because Cassandra Nova's going to come on down, basically giving the clearance, in my opinion, to YoWoody that you can go ahead and play into Lechugia if you need to. I'm not worried about you getting extra rocks.
Yep, and I would be shocked if all 3 of these locations stay the same by the end of this game. I think there's absolutely going to be a Nocturne play here at some point to
Agreed.
change one of these locations to the negative ability. It's just a matter of when will we see Woody drop it. We again have the Super Scroll in hand for Rocco, which has been a sadly dead card this entire matchup. Again, no ongoing cards in Woody's deck, so that is just a dead draw for him there. Not great into this matchup at all. What are we going to see here from Rocco? Probably the Abs Man onto the Cassandra Nova. He's locked in already. Now it's just a matter of what will Woody do here.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to what provides more value. Is it the scaling tall in one location, or is it the location change to compete later on because you're waiting on your Brood, for example? Because that Brood would be a very detrimental play with Necrosha still on the board. Here comes the Absorbing Man, which takes on Cassandra Nova, shoots up to a total of 7 for now, as Nocturne and Nova give 7 energy for Woody to work with going into turn number 5.
And no Sandman here for Rocco, so he's going to have free reign on what he plays here on turn 6 for Woody. This is a tough spot for Rocco to be in. He's going to have to reach with the Iron Lad again, potentially trying to get the Sandman.
It's a 1 in 4 to get the Sandman.
It is 25%. It's not impossible. Woody's going to have to take advantage. He doesn't know that Rocco, of course, doesn't have the Sandman yet, so he's going to have to try and take advantage here, expecting the Sandman to come down this turn. 7 energy. What do you spend it on here? Do you drop the Killmonger early to try and... I mean, that doesn't really benefit the Nova at all.
Yeah, no.
After coming back. It's just going to clog you up a little bit. Some tricky plays here. Woody taking his time, trying to figure out this puzzle. You see him looking up to the heavens, hands on head. Rocco, stoic as always, not phased despite being down 6 cubes to 2.
Looking at the options that Rocco's Iron Lad could hit, it's Jeff that's left in the deck, followed by Blue Marvel, Sandman, and Brood. Let's see what it hits. It goes and actually hits that Sandman. Here's
Wow.
your Sebastian Shaw and Brood.
Wow, look at those broods. 0 power broods
Lots
because
of
of the
low.
double Cassandra Nova. Wow.
Yeah.
Huge pull with the Iron Lad. Iron Lad being the hero for RoccoSocko, getting what he needs here. Priority on Rocco's side. So the Killmonger could be dangerous if he goes the Ultron route. But again, Woody only being able to play 1 card. The Broodlings would get buffed by 1 each from the Nova, so you'd be looking at 3 power on the left. Still would have to figure out how to win the other lanes. Sebastian Shaw getting buffed, of course, twice from his own ability and the Nova. Is it just going to be Killmonger here from Woody with the priority on Rocco's side?
I think isn't the Killmonger a weaker play in this scenario?
If I'm Woody, I'm anticipating the Ultron. That's why you would go with the Killmonger there. But we do see Doom as an option as well. That would not be as effective. We would have 5 in the left lane. Oh man,
This is a very risky move to say. Is it Killmonger? Is it Surfer? Is it Killmonger? Is it Surfer? It's the final 2 cubes for last year's champion RoccoSocko, trying to make the prediction of which one is valid. He's thinking that the Doombots are going to be enough, and we see the Nocturne move over to Necrotia to undo it, and it converts into a Hell's Kitchen.
Again.
Hell's Kitchen then watches Dr. Doom put a Doombot into it. Killmonger comes on down, destroys that Nova, converting Lechugia into 3 power. It'll lose into that lane, get the reinforcement of Sebastian Shaw over the top, and Rocco hangs on.
Yep.
It is 4-2 here in the semifinals.
Super clutch hit there with that Sandman. That made all the difference. Woody just not able to make up that spread of power there with 1 card only. Very big pull there for Rocco as we head into 4-2 here. SnapCon 2024, the second of our semifinal matches. The winner will face KX4N in the finals.
I love the idea of a 6-power Jeff. Aunt Maze throws it over to the right, and Forge gives us a head start on what presents like it would be a Brood, but it very well could also be a floating Nocturne, and the RNG God location itself has emerged.
We have been seeing quite a few of those, yes. We'll have to see if that comes into play here. Unfortunately, no Shaw for Woody here. That would have been great on the Ant Maze into the Forge. That would have been a big Shaw, but instead we see an 11-power Cassandra Nova thanks to the Ant Maze buff and the Absorbing Man coming down here now on Cassandra Nova. Both of them, they are just stealing life from each other's decks. And look at that again, that 0-power Brood on Woody's side now. The Cassandra Nova has been so instrumental in getting rid of that extra power from Brood. Those are just 3 zeros now. And again, the Sandman for Rocco. It's coming out when he needs it.
Looking at only 12 power, though, in the center location with a Doom and not an Ultron in hand as Gwenpool reinforces the hand. Here comes Sandman once again controlling the board, and everybody's only got 1 card left to play. This, Rocco, is a very tough decision for you. Also known as, do you just try to steal Tarnax with a little bit of luck via converting out those Broods? Do you have that Iron Lad, try to take that risky hit over to Ultron? Or do you just simply doom it and hope for the best?
He's also able to move Jeff, so that is going to play a factor as well, where that 6-power Jeff is going to wind up. So big advantage there on Rocco's side, having that flexibility of where you can move that power. It looks like he's going for the Doom. He's locked it in for now, and here we go.
Dr. Doom flips into Aunt Maze. Here comes the Killmonger. It's 14, 17, 11, and Rocco hangs on.
Here we go. Final 2 cubes. I'd expect nothing less here, guys.
Wow. Back-to-back semifinals going down to the final round 9. RoccoSocko versus YoWoody as we start with a throne room in this semifinal match.
Can you tell both of those players have been burned by RNG before, guess? Neither of them playing into Tarnax.
100.
They wanted none of that smoke.
With everything that we have here at
Another
SnapCon on
no
the
name.
How are we into round 9 in back-to-back matches with a bar with no name appearing in location number 3? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Location matching is not real.
Say it with me, crowd. Is not real.
Oh, that was a cue. Gotcha. As we see Hope Summers landed to Atlantis first.
It's been a long weekend, guests.
We do what we can.
Again, the Super Scroll in hand here for Rocco, one of the dead cards, but Iron Lad has been the hero here. Nothing on the board yet for Rocco, though, so he's got some ground to make up as we see Woody filling the middle location there with the Brood and the Hope Summers, getting that extra energy. 6 energy on turn 5 as the Iron Lad hits the Blue Marvel. Good buff card there. Now
Yes.
Priority is going to be the name of the game.
With that Blue Marvel buff already down now on turn 4, you could have the threat of Sandman still be relevant. Even with the reinforcement of Silver Surfer, let's see if it's going to be enough, because you've got a Sebastian Shaw followed by a Silver Surfer. He expected the Sandman and was prepared for it as we watch Sebastian Shaw raise up to now the doubled up on the 16. With Bar with no name on the board, that completely changes the final play here for Rocco, who has 2 big 6 drops, but both of them would end up losing Bar with no name right away, and neither is going to be able to go over what Sebastian Shaw brings to the table.
I do think Rocco is cooked here. I don't think there's any possible way for him to win this, unfortunately being able to play just 1 card here. Woody getting the Sandman read correct. The Ultron will not be enough to overtake the Sebastian Shaw after the Absorbing Man comes down, buffing it up here, and that is going to do it here for Woody. Congratulations, Woody, advancing to the finals to play his friend KX4N. Give it up for Rocco, last year's champion. Well played by both of these competitors. Fantastic job to both of them.
RoccoSocko and YoWoody. RoccoSocko and YoWoody going up here into the semifinals, and that means, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We have our finals set up.
KX4N versus YoWoodyMJ. Rousing ovation from the crowd here for both of these incredible players, taking it down to the final round once again.